Am I the asshole for hating my husband after our baby was born? Throwaway, because I don't want this tied to my main. I, 32F, am writing this at 3:30 a.m., sitting in the dark, rocking our 4-month-old daughter for what feels like the millionth time tonight. My husband, 34M, is in the other room, door closed, probably asleep. I can hear him snoring through the wall. I want to scream. I want to throw something. I want to walk out the door and never come back. I don't know if I'm looking for advice or just a place to vent, but I feel like I'm drowning. I love my daughter, but I hate what my marriage has become. I hate him. I hate that I'm the only one who gets up at night, the only one who seems to know when she needs to eat or be changed or just be held. I hate that he gets to go to work and have adult conversations and drink coffee while it's still hot, while I'm here, alone, losing my mind. We used to be a team. Before the baby, Mark was my best friend. We'd stay up late talking about everything and nothing. He'd make me laugh until I cried. We promised each other we'd split everything 50-50 when we had kids. But now, it's like he's disappeared. He says he's so tired from work, but I haven't slept more than 2 hours in a row in months. He says he doesn't know what to do when the baby cries, so he just doesn't do anything. I've tried talking to him. I've tried asking for help, begging for help. He always says he'll do better, but nothing changes. I'm starting to resent him so much, I can barely look at him. I don't know if this is normal. I don't know if I'm being unfair. I just know I can't keep going like this. AITA for hating my husband right now? Background. Before the baby. It wasn't always like this. Mark and I met at a friend's party. He was the only one who laughed at my dumb joke about existential dread and cheap wine. We ended up talking on the fire escape for hours, sharing stories about our families, our dreams, our fears. He told me he wanted to be a dad someday, but only if he could be the kind of dad who was there for everything. I told him I wanted a partner, not a hero. We moved in together after a year. Our apartment was tiny, but it was ours. We made up silly songs while doing the dishes. We fought about stupid things, whose turn it was to take out the trash, whether pineapple belonged on pizza, but we always made up. We talked about kids in the abstract, both agreeing we'd wait until we were ready. I remember the way Mark would brush my hair behind my ear, the way he'd say, "We'll be a team, always." I believed him. I believed in us. The pregnancy. When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified. Mark was over the moon. He started reading parenting books, making lists, researching strollers and car seats. He talked to my belly every night, telling our daughter about the world she was coming into. He promised me over and over that we'd do this together. The first trimester was rough. I was nauseous all the time, exhausted, emotional. Mark tried to help, but he didn't always know how. He'd bring me ginger tea and rub my back, but sometimes he'd get frustrated when I snapped at him for no reason. We fought more, but we always made up. I thought it was just stress, hormones, the usual. The second trimester was better. We went to birthing classes, decorated the nursery, argued about baby names. Mark started working longer hours, saying he wanted to get ahead before the baby came. I missed him, but I told myself it was temporary. The third trimester was a blur of doctor's appointments, swollen ankles, and sleepless nights. Mark was there for most of it, but sometimes I felt like he was already pulling away, like he was bracing himself for something I couldn't see. The birth. Labor was long and brutal. Mark was there, holding my hand, whispering encouragement, but I could see the fear in his eyes. When our daughter finally arrived, screaming and perfect, I thought everything would change. I thought we'd be a family, a team, but instead, it felt like I was suddenly alone. The first weeks. The first weeks were a haze of feedings, diaper changes, and sleepless nights. Mark went back to work after a week. He said he had to, that his boss was breathing down his neck. I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't help feeling abandoned. He'd come home, ask how the baby was, eat dinner, and collapse on the couch. I'd try to talk to him, to tell him how hard it was, but he'd just nod and say, "You're doing great." I wanted to scream. I wanted him to see me, to really see me. I started keeping a list in my head of all the things I did that he didn't, all the times I got up at night, all the diapers I changed, all the hours I spent rocking our daughter while he slept. The list got longer every day. Present day, the breaking point. Tonight, as I sit here in the dark, I feel like I'm at my breaking point. I'm so tired, I can barely think. My body aches. My mind is a fog of resentment and rage. I look at Mark, sleeping peacefully in the next room, and I want to hate him. I want to blame him for everything. But I also remember the man I married. I remember the promises we made. I don't know if I'm being fair. I don't know if I'm the asshole. Update 1. He's not even trying. I don't know if this is an update or just more venting, but things have gotten worse. Mark doesn't even pretend to help anymore. He comes home later and later, always with some excuse. Traffic, a last-minute meeting, drinks with a client. He barely looks at the baby. Sometimes I catch him scrolling on his phone while she's crying in the next room. I'll ask him to hold her so I can shower, and he'll sigh like I'm asking him to run a marathon. He's started sleeping in the guest room so he can get enough rest for work. I'm not sure when that became more important than being a parent. I'm not sure when I became invisible. I tried to talk to him again last night. I told him I needed help, that I was falling apart. He just stared at the TV and said, "I'm doing my best." Then he got up and left the room. I don't know what to do anymore. I feel like a single parent. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Update 2. The phone. This is probably me being paranoid, but Mark's been weird with his phone lately. He used to leave it lying around, but now it's always in his pocket or face down on the table. He started getting texts late at night, and when I ask who it is, he just says it's work. I want to believe him, but something feels off. He's started going out for drinks after work more often. He comes home smelling like cologne he never used to wear. He showers as soon as he gets home, even if it's late. I asked him about it once, jokingly, and he snapped at me. "Can't I have one thing that's just mine?" he said. I don't know if I'm imagining things. I don't know if I'm just so tired and angry that I'm seeing problems where there aren't any. But I can't shake the feeling that he's checked out, not just from me, but from our whole life. Update 3. Leaving the baby with him for a day. I finally did what everyone, including my therapist, my mom, and half of Reddit, has been telling me to do. I left Mark alone with our daughter for a whole day so I could have some time to myself. I planned it for a week. I told Mark exactly what I needed. I need a day, just one day. I need to not be mom for a few hours. Can you please handle things? He rolled his eyes and said, "Sure, whatever, it's not rocket science." I wrote out a schedule, prepped bottles, left instructions for naps, snacks, everything. I even set out her favorite toys and her comfort blanket. I left at 9 a.m. I went to a coffee shop, read a book, walked around the park, and for the first time in months, I felt like a person again. I tried not to check my phone every 5 minutes, but I couldn't help it. No texts from Mark, no updates. I told myself that was a good sign. I came home around 4 p.m. The house was quiet, too quiet. I walked in and found Mark in the living room, headset on, controller in hand, yelling at his friends over some online game. He didn't even look up when I came in. Then I heard the baby crying, not just fussing, full-on, red-faced, hiccuping sobs coming from her crib. I rushed upstairs and found her lying in a dirty diaper, her face blotchy and wet. Her bottle was untouched on the floor. Her blanket was bunched up in the corner, out of reach. She looked at me with this desperate, betrayed look that broke my heart. I scooped her up and tried to comfort her, but she was inconsolable for almost an hour. I changed her, fed her, rocked her, and finally she calmed down enough to fall asleep on my chest. I went back downstairs and found Mark still playing his game. I asked him what happened, and he just shrugged. She was fine. She just started crying. I was about to get her. I asked if he'd changed her, fed her, checked on her at all, and he got defensive. "I'm not a mind reader, Anna. She was sleeping most of the time. What's the big deal?" I lost it. I told him this was exactly what I was afraid of, that he can't even be bothered to take care of his own child for a few hours. He rolled his eyes and said, "You're overreacting. She's fine. You act like I'm some kind of monster." I don't even know what to say anymore. I feel like I can't trust him with our daughter. I feel like I'm trapped. I feel like I'm already a single parent, and he's just some guy who lives here and plays video games. And the worst part? He left again after dinner, said he needed to clear his head. He was gone for hours, didn't say where he was going, didn't answer my texts. Update 4. He leaves for his mom's and the blame game begins. After the baby incident, I tried to talk to him again that night. After I finally got her to sleep, I told him, as calmly as I could, that I was scared to leave her alone with him now, that I didn't trust him to take care of her, that I felt like I was doing this all by myself, and I was exhausted and scared and angry. He didn't even look at me. He just kept scrolling on his phone, then said, "You're blowing this out of proportion. She's a baby. She cries. You act like I abused her or something. Maybe if you weren't so uptight, you'd see that I'm doing my best." I told him that doing your best doesn't mean ignoring your child while you play video games, that it doesn't mean leaving her in a dirty diaper for who knows how long, that it doesn't mean disappearing every night and leaving me to do everything. He just got up, grabbed his keys, and said, "I can't deal with this right now." He left. No explanation, no apology, nothing. I heard his car start and drive off. I sat on the stairs and cried until I couldn't breathe. He didn't come home that night. I texted him, called him, nothing. Around midnight, I got a text. "Staying at Mom's, need space." I didn't sleep. I kept checking the baby monitor, kept listening for his car, kept hoping he'd come home and at least try to talk, but he didn't. This morning, my phone rang. It was his mom. I almost didn't answer, but I thought maybe she was worried about him. Maybe she wanted to help. Instead, she started yelling at me the second I picked up. She said Mark was beside himself, that I was making things impossible, that I was pushing him away with my nagging and negativity. She said, "You're the mother, Anna. It's your job to take care of the baby. Mark works hard. He needs his rest. You can't expect him to do everything just because you're tired." I tried to explain what happened, how I'd come home to find our daughter neglected, how scared and angry I was. She cut me off. "You're exaggerating. Babies cry. You need to stop blaming Mark for your own failings. Maybe if you were a better wife, he wouldn't have to escape to my house just to get some peace." I hung up on her. I've never done that before, but I couldn't listen to another word. I sat on the kitchen floor and sobbed. I felt so alone, so completely abandoned. I kept thinking, if I can't trust my husband and his family thinks I'm the problem, what am I supposed to do? I haven't heard from Mark since. He hasn't asked about our daughter, hasn't checked in, nothing. I keep looking at her, wondering how I'm supposed to do this by myself. I keep thinking about all the times I defended him, all the times I told myself he'd come around, that he was just stressed, that things would get better. But now, all I feel is resentment. I resent him for leaving me alone, for making me feel like I'm crazy, for letting his mother talk to me like that. I resent him for making me doubt myself, for making me feel like I'm failing when I'm doing everything I can. I don't know how to come back from this. I don't know if I even want to. Am I the asshole for not wanting him back, for thinking I'd be better off alone than with someone who doesn't care about me or our child?